Hello everyone, today's video is a very exciting one and it's the first one in a new video series I'm starting called My Books, and it's when I get a load of books off my bookshelf and I just talk you through them, say if I've read them, if I've reviewed them, talk about the author, just have a chatty time. What inspired this in me is that I'm moving some books from my parents' house to this house, and so I have loads of books in bags, and so I thought let's just go through them. They're all random, have a little chitter chatter, so getting straight into it. Alice Walker's Now is the Time to Open Your Heart. Alice Walker is my favourite author of all time. She wrote The Colour Purple. It's my favourite novel of all time. She also, if you like short stories, she's got one called Living by the Word, You Can't Keep a Good Woman Down, poetry collections. She's got Revolutionary Petunias, which that poetry collection changed my life. It is so beautiful, and this is one of her novels. I haven't read this one. It's about a woman who, she's a successful author, she's had a few marriages and she's now got a lover, and she decides to leave her lover to go travelling and kind of find herself. She makes these connections with native Indian people, and then her lover at the same time goes travelling and kind of finds himself as well, and it's about, are they going to come full circle and back to each other? Kind of the idea of, if you love someone, let them go and they'll come back to you. Is that going to happen? Is it not? But she's so deep, Alice Walker, and spiritual and just beautiful within things within life that I feel you can take from her books that are fiction books. You can take things and put them into your own life, and it's so profound and moving, everything she writes. So I'm so excited for this one. Next up I have Time's Delight. Also, can I just say, majority of these books are from charity shops, so if you wonder where they're from, charity shops, my friends. Time's Delight, Poems for All Seasons by Raymond Wilson. I love books like this. This is, oh my god, look, it's a mole that looks like it's coming out the fires of hell. A hellish mole there, and then it'll have a poem next to it called From Night, and it's just really cute. Also, if you're in a slump, get these kind of like poetry collection books because they'll help you out of slumps. Next up is a controversial read for me because I do not like abridged books at all. So when a book is abridged, it's basically been shortened, so they normally do it with classics. So something like The Hunchback of Notre Dame is a very long book, so they'll abridge it and put it into maybe 100 pages, and it's basically the bits that they cut out of the book are kind of the waffling bits, the bits that I like, the nice language. They cut it out and they get straight to the plot. So when you're reading an abridged version, you do get the full story and you do understand the plot, but for me, you're not getting the real sense of it. And I picked this up and I didn't realise it was bloody abridged, and I should have, because you're going to know how thick I am in a minute. The illustrated Lark Rise to Candlefoot by Flora Thompson. So here it is. The Lark Rise to to Candlefoot is a book trilogy. So I knew it was a book trilogy and it's like quaint and British, and I saw this and I was like, oh my god, like it's quite small for a trilogy. What an idiot! But it's because it's abridged, Hannah. That's why it's quite small. But in this you've got gorgeous pictures of the countryside and leaves. It looks like, you know when you press flowers onto pages, which I love to do, it looks like that. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And so yeah, I probably will read this, but I really want to read the trilogy, so I might audiobook the trilogy and then read this. Tell me if you have read it, and tell me also what you think of abridged things, because I understand it's maybe for people who don't normally like classics, who just want to get straight to the point, but for me you lose the sense of the book, and I don't think I've ever read an abridged book. Maybe I should just read one, because I have such a snobbery to abridged books, because I just feel like you haven't really read the book. You can't really say you've read A Hunchback of Notre Dame if you've read like 100 pages of someone summing it up to you. It's like your friend chatting it to you. You can't do it, in my opinion, so I might give that back to a charity shop. I'm not sure. I might look through the pictures and then give it back to a charity shop. Next up, I've already reviewed this book. I'll put the review down below, and my review for this, I was actually out in the wild. I was in the garden. I remember the wind was going. I had a little blossom tree next to me. It's a nice video. I'll link it down below. I got a text. It's probably from T-Mobile. It's probably, it's not going to be a friend. Anyway, this is Raymond Briggs, Ethel and Ernest, and this is a graphic novel. Really gorgeous art style. If you've seen the Christmas film The Snowman, Raymond Briggs did that. So The Snowman was originally a book, it got turned into a beautiful cartoon film. Ethel and Ernest is also a beautiful cartoon film, and but my favourite thing from Raymond Briggs, I think, has to be Father Christmas, which is like a really funny satirical take on Father Christmas, and it was turned into a little film, and if you can see it, it is so heartwarming and lovely and funny. And Father Christmas is like another blooming Christmas, and I think it's so British, I love it. So this is about how his parents met, how they came to have him, and also the Second World War. And so he gets taken off to the countryside, and it's all about that whole thing. I think this is really good, but if you want to hear more about it, my review is down below. I then have Tudor Palace 1587, and I'm going to read it straight after this. I turn this camera off because I don't know why I haven't read this yet. It's about a little girl called Letty whose dad is an actor, and he has like an acting troupe, and he gets asked to go to Queen Elizabeth at Richmond Palace to perform for her, and Letty, who's a little girl, dresses up as a little boy because women weren't allowed to perform in those days, and she loves acting, so she dresses up as a little boy to perform in front of Queen Elizabeth, and it just sounds so me, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. It's very odd, but I'm very excited to get to that one. Next up, I have a whole video review on this one, which I'll link down below. This is Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach, and this is my favourite Roald Dahl, and I don't like Roald Dahl. I don't like Roald Dahl, I can't connect with his things in any kind of way, but this is bloody genius. This is so good. So if you want to know the plot of it, which is weird and strange, my review is down below. Why I always buy Roald Dahl books, right, is because Quentin Blake illustrates them, and Quentin Blake is my god. So, you know, just so you know that, Quentin Blake is pretty much God to me. He's an amazing illustrator, and I love his work, so that's why I got these. These are the full colour illustration ones. I found this in a charity shop, and I would love to be able to afford them all, but I can't really justify buying them. They've got all of Roald Dahl's edition in these big books, full colour, beautiful illustrations from Quentin Blake. But I hate the stories, so I'm like, you know, I'm alright, I'll just Google it. Next up, I have a book that was illustrated and written by my god, Quentin Blake. Miss Armitage, Queen of the Road. So Quentin famously, like, is probably most famous for illustrating Roald Dahl's work, also Michael Rosen and classics. So he's done A Christmas Carol, which might be in here as well. He illustrates a lot of different people's work. But did you ever know he also writes his own children's work and illustrates it, and it is so much better than Roald Dahl. It is so much better, and I feel it's so sad that Roald Dahl is like fantastic, amazing, and then you read Quentin's thing, you're like, oh my god, this is so much better to me. So this is about a woman called Miss Armitage. Her uncle says, I'm going to give you my car because I'm going to get a motorbike so you can drive this car. She doesn't really know how to drive a car, so as she's going along, all bits are coming off the car until at the end it looks like a motorbike, and it's just a lovely story, and it's just a gorgeous picture book for like children. Let me show you the pictures in it. It's just really lovely. I loved this. It was so charming. Oh my god, next up. I was not prepared. I was not ready for this. Next up is a book with a story. I got this from a boy that I kind of liked and thought I was going to date. I was working at a card shop. I worked in many different shops. If you ever want to hear about that, oh, the stories I could tell. I've worked on customer services. Don't. But anyway, I used to work in a card shop, and when I worked in this card shop, I made friends with this boy, and they had like a Disney bit in the card shop, and they also had a Winnie the Pooh bit, and I would always jokingly be like, oh, the Winnie the Pooh bit's cute, it's nice, and it was kind of like a joke. I don't even know why we found it funny. When I look back at people and like people that I used to like and was like, oh, I'd like to date them, the things that you find funny with them are so dumb, but at the time they're like, this is hilarious. I just liked the Winnie the Pooh cards in the card shop. I mean, it's not even that funny a story. And so for Christmas he got me this, and I was a little bit like, oh, okay. So it's got gold Winnie the Pooh on the front. It's gorgeous. It's an anthology of the Winnie the Pooh stories. Let me show you the hideous, in my opinion, dust jacket that should be on it. You ready for this sin? I have, yes, folded the dust jacket. There's the normal dust jacket. Gold Winnie the Pooh, I think looks so much better than this like hideous thing on it. But anyway, I got him a really nice edition of Frankenstein, and I got him a cashmere red River Island scarf. It was gorgeous. And then he passed me this, the Winnie the Pooh book, and I was like, oh, Winnie the Pooh, and he was like, yeah, because you love Winnie the Pooh. I think he thought that I genuinely loved it, but in my head I thought it was like we were never gonna work out. Like, I look back now and I'm like, okay, he didn't even know I was joking about that, like that early on. But I don't think I like Winnie the Pooh. That's like the basis of the story, because I read Now We Are Six and I really didn't like it, so I don't know. But again, like, I don't like Roald Dahl, but I love Quentin Blake. I don't think I really like A.A. Milne, but I really like E.H. Shepard, who did the illustrations. The illustrations always win it for me. Okay, next up I have, might be interesting, there's Beatrix Potter some of my collection. So this is The Real World of Beatrix Potter. It's by the National Trust pocketbook, and it's a book all about Beatrix Potter's life, and it's got pictures in it. So it's like a picture of the farm that she built, and it's about what she did. So loads of people think, and this book addresses that she's this very petite, meek and mild woman who just sat in all day and drew bunny rabbits and that was it. That's not what Beatrix Potter was at all. Like, as a child, she was like running in the mud with the animals, loved animals, and then when she became adult, she bought a farm, and she used to farm on the farm, fix the farm's roof, and get down and dirty with the animals, and also do her pictures of Peter Rabbit and stuff. So this kind of glamorised version of Beatrix isn't actually true, and I think it's because there was a film that came out, which I haven't seen, which is about Beatrix Potter, and I think it has Renée Zellweger in it. He's like really thin and sweet in it, but that's not actually what Beatrix Potter was. That's not what she was like. So this book kind of addresses that. I then have two of Beatrix's works, The Tale of Miss Tiggerwink and The Tale of Piglin Bland. Loved. I then have the History of the Tale of Peter Rabbit. Gorgeous book, and this is the correspondence between Beatrix Potter and her publisher, and it's all about the first book, Peter Rabbit, and it is so interesting. So it's just letters, so like, to Miss Potter, we want you to change this and we want you to change that, and her being like, nah, I don't really want to change that, and then being like, okay, and the little kind of like arguments and stuff. There's no big arguments, but there's stuff with her illustrations that they wanted her to change. So at the end it has the original illustration and then afterwards what it was actually changed to, because all her stories are a little bit sinister and her original drawings were a lot more sinister than cutesy to some of the characters, and so the publisher said, just don't be so like graphic, tone it down, Beatrix. And that's really interesting to read. Also, if you're wanting to get into, you want to publish your own book, just to know kind of the correspondence between a publisher and, you know, an author and what they want. It's kind of, it says the publishers, but it's really like the editor, and they're editoring it alongside her, which is really interesting. I then have, oh, Alice Walker, You Can't Keep a Good Woman Down, short story collection. I've read some of the short stories so far and love it. I love everything she's ever written. There are other people that I love, like Tracy Chevalier, but I don't love everything she's written, whereas with Alice Walker, I love everything she's written. Next up I have some Anne Cassidy. She writes YA crime and I absolutely love it, and it really goes there and it's very sinister, and I love her crime books. So the ones that I have read is, I think I've read Innocent, Looking for JJ is my favourite one, and I have also read Love Letters, and they are really good crime books. If you want a short crime book, these are for you. And the main character is always a teenage girl, and normally they're kind of going through something, so it's talking about like them being a teenager and what they're going through, and then also dealing with these just horrendous crimes and abuses, and I enjoy it. You know, I think it's interesting to read about those things because they are real life and they're very realistic to things that do happen, so that's why I like reading them. Next up I have You Look Awfully Like the Queen. This is the wit and wisdom from the House of Windsor. Basically, I'm not sure how realistic this is. This is about someone who apparently used to work with like the Queen and the Queen Mum, and they're just quoting things that those two women said, but like, in the UK we have a lot of books that have been written by like ex-butlers or ex-assistants or ex-people who used to like chauffeurs and stuff, and they say, oh, you know, I used to drive the Queen around and she said all this funny stuff, and they just print it. But I never know how realistic it is, and I probably feel like the Queen to like her chauffeur and her butler, because they know they're going to be writing stories about her maybe in the future. I feel like she wouldn't actually say anything, she'd keep very quiet. But I think it's going to be a nice little amusing book. Just, I never trust any of those books, because I feel like the royal family are very into like, keep quiet about everything, they're very secretive as a family. Even though they're written about all the time and always in the media, they are quite secretive within what the information they give away. And so I just don't think she'd be like mouthing off to her butler going, oh, you know what? Like, I just don't think in the car to her chauffeur she's going to be ranting about, like, I just don't think it's going to happen. But that's my opinion. This I have read and absolutely adored. This is Agatha Christie's Halloween Party. Oh my lord, Joyce. So there's a young girl called Joyce who says she's witnessed a murder, and then who ends up dead? Joyce, and then it tracks back, so Hercule Poirot comes in to solve the case, and it tracks back to what she actually witnessed. Did she witness a murder? And then the murderer must have been in the room who killed her to stop her from talking about the murder. But was it a murder? Was it not? She's a young girl. We don't quite know. Hercule Poirot, and Miss Oliver's in it as well, which Miss Oliver, I've been told, is in other Agatha Christie's, and I just loved it. I tabbed 2 bits that I thought were like so funny and profound, and I find Poirot is a very funny character, but he also says things that are quite moving and societal, and I really like that about his character, so I loved, I can't rave about it enough. Like, if you haven't read Agatha Christie, start with Halloween Party. Also, it's not about the Halloween party. So I got it and was like, oh, I read it at Halloween. It's mentioned for 2 seconds, sweetheart, and then they move on. Like, the murder happens on the Halloween party and then no one talks about Halloween again. So it's not really a themed read. You can read it any time. Oh, I then just have like a spare dust jacket. This is for Edith Holden's The Hedgehog Feast, which is a children's picture book that I loved, that I thought was really graphic and like a lot of old children's fiction, like, wow, you went there. Edith Holden wrote Edwardian Diary of a Country Lady. Very good if you want to read that. Here is another Anne Cassidy, Talking to Strangers. Oh my god, I've got like so much more. Anne Cassidy Guilt Trip, which I'm apparently currently reading. Do you ever do that when you come across like old books and they're bookmarks and you're like, I literally don't remember starting this at all. Next up I have Myth and Romance, The Art of J.W. Waterhouse, and he was basically an artist, and this just has all his gorgeous art in it. I got it from Birmingham Art Gallery when I used to live in Birmingham, and it was really because, you know, when you see all those glossy books in like museums and you look at them and you're like, oh my god, I want them, and then you look and they're like £50 and I'm like, I don't want it that much. This is the tiniest one and cheapest one I could find, and I love it, and I actually have one of the pictures from this in my living room because I really love the picture. I'm gonna get it. This picture, this one here, is so gorgeous. It's a painting of a woman in a boat in like a lake, and she's got all candles. It's very ceremonious, and it's just, I just love it so much. I think it's beautiful, and I actually have this on my wall in my front room because it's so stunning. I have this, which is Woodland Babies, a pixie book, and these pixie books are so beautiful. They're like old vintage books with the most gorgeous vintage pictures you've ever seen, and they're just tiny little picture books. Stunning is what they are. Oh my god, I've got some DVDs. The Vicar of Dibley! Ah! The Vicar of Dibley. This is like the complete series. 3 DVDs. Love Dawn French. Love The Vicar of Dibley so much. Such a gorgeous series. I then have all my Bramley Hedge. Oh my dear lord, I'm reunited. Got my box set of my Bramley Hedge. And oh my god, I have another one as well, which I don't think I've ever shown you. And it's like, oh my god, girl. Oh my lord. Hi, how are you? Great. Wilfred's Birthday, a sliding picture book. Now, I already have Wilfred's Birthday because they do it in like normal book. And then they brought out Bramley Hedge with, get ready for it. So there's one picture. Oh my god. Oh my god. They're in the kitchen. They're just baking, having a good cozy time. Oh no, they're outside. They're back in. They're outside. I love these sliding books. I think they're so beautiful. I want to collect all the Bramley Hedge in sliding books as well. And then last but not least, I have My Story Suffragette. So My Story is actually a series, and it's based on loads of different people. So they've got like Anastasia from the Romanovs. They have one that I'm currently reading, which is called Anne Boleyn and Me, and it's about a girl who works as a maid for Anne Boleyn and about her relationship with Anne. And this one is My Story Suffragette, an Edwardian girl's diary from 1909 to 1913. They are fiction, but they are historical fiction, and they're so good. And because it's set in diary format, it gives you dates, and they're actual dates when things happened historically, which I think is really good, and I enjoy these. So that is it. That is my bag. Done. I am one bag down. Tell me if you're interested in like this series, and obviously I'll just take books from the bookshelf as well, and just talking you through my collection. I thought this would be quite good to watch back when I'm in a reading slump, and then I can look at all these books and be like, girl, you got books to read. So that's it. That's this video. Tell me your thoughts and feelings on it, and I will see you all very soon for another video. Goodbye. Sabrina, do you have anything else to add? Anything you want to say? Okay, bye.